mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. Our guest today is Amanda. And let's start with inviting her to introduce herself. Amanda.
So I'm Amanda. I'm a 30-something-year-old mom of 4 in Melbourne, Australia. And I've just recently given birth to a baby girl for another couple here in Melbourne.
Congratulations. Can you share with us more about how did you find this intended parents, who they are, and as much as you want to share about that experience as a surrogate?
So a same-sex couple, 2 intended fathers, one of them of which was my best friend in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a previous relationship as a friendship. But when we left high school, we went in different directions, and he was in a long-term relationship. I had 4 kids. And then I saw that they had started looking into surrogacy just on their Facebook. They had posted that they were at the conference in Sydney. And so I messaged him and said, if you want to have a baby, here I am. And that's really how we got started.
Wow. You make it sound very simple. So I'm curious, how did your husband react?
He was fine with it. I'd actually, previous to offering to be their surrogate, was going down the egg donation path with another woman that I had met in a mother's group. It didn't work out. Our timelines were not matching up because I was pregnant with my last child time. We'd already kind of talked about going into that area of have a baby anyway. So he was fine with it.
Very supportive. Moving the attention back to you, I'm curious how a mother of 4 children that knows how a pregnancy could be so hard on your body, how did you decide to become a surrogate?
I think quite naively and with an open heart, really. Looking back now, I didn't think it was going to be, how it was. All of my pregnancies were great, and in that time at the surrogacy, you're so euphoric and you're so hopeful, and I'll give everyone a baby, and it's just so wonderful. The reality is it is wonderful that they're having a baby, and it's wonderful that I get to be the one to give them that. But it's hard slog as well. It's hard work also, especially for little kids.
Mm-hmm. So was it that experience different than being pregnant with your own children?
Exactly. And I had never really been sick in any of my own pregnancies, but my surrogacy pregnancy, let me tell you, I was hospitalized 3 times because I was so sick and so dehydrated. I just didn't stop vomiting for about 20 weeks.
Wow.
So it was hard work, and I obviously didn't expect that because I'd never had that before.
Right. So you were the surrogate for 2 dads' family, and I'm curious, who provided the egg?
So at the start, we got eggs from the World Egg Bank, and I think they got 7 eggs or something like that. They ended up making 2 embryos. Both transfers failed, and by then I'm a very fertile, healthy 30-year-old woman, and I just was on so much medication and it was making me feel not great. And I said, let's just switch to my own eggs, and we'll switch to traditional surrogacy, and because I don't want to go on the medication. I know that I can get pregnant. I know how to get pregnant. And so we ended up just doing it at home.
Wow, that's quite a change of plans. Was there any resistance from intended parents?
That one dad very comfortable with it and, jumped at the chance. The other one was a bit apprehensive, which I understand, because then you're not just asking someone to be your surrogate and to carry your baby, which is already an amazing thing to do. You're also asking them to carry their genetic baby and give that baby to you.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a bit apprehensive, but then in the end he came around to it, and we got pregnant the first month of trying. So we were very lucky.
That's fantastic. Now, I do have to ask you, how is it to have a baby girl that is carrying your DNA? And she is half-sister for your children. Have you guys have a conversation with your kids about having a half-sister?
Yeah, Yeah. So we had a few conversations about things like my children. They were very involved in the surrogacy. They're quite young, but they get it. They really got that, this baby was not ours. It was going home with them. But so the conversations that we had as adults were that my children would always have open access to their child, would always know who she or he is at the time and things like that. Just so, because I'm making this decision for my children as well. They don't get a say. So I wanted that to be later on. If we were not friends and we didn't end up staying in each other's lives, that they would always have that opportunity to meet the child.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. This is exactly what this podcast is about. Showing people that there is so many non-traditional ways of creating a family, and every individual and couple has the right to redefine what family means for them.
That's very true. I use that term a lot as well, like redefining families, making new families, but also it's growing our family as well, just in a different way to having another baby.
Mm-hmm. So you don't get to have the baby in the house, but you get to love him.
Yeah.
So how was it to give the baby to her intended parents?
At the time, I think it was just kind of a natural progression, moving from donor eggs onto my own eggs. I didn't feel like it was going to change anything at all. I remember being heavily pregnant, about 40 weeks pregnant, and driving in my car and then getting into my driveway, and just this feeling came over me like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're just going to have a baby and then you're going to give it to two people. That's crazy. That's, it goes against everything that is inside you, every motherly instinct or, Mother Nature's kind of plan to do that. And then when I had her and I saw her, she wasn't my baby. She was their child. And I was so excited to see them as a family and to watch them love her. But not to say it wasn't hard. They were the time in that postnatal period after I had her, those were the hardest of my life emotionally, because I was a very logical person, and my head knew exactly what I was doing. I knew that this was their baby and it was always intended to be their baby. My body didn't know. My body was grieving for this baby that it just had, but it's been taken away.
Wow. So how do you bring peace between your head, the logic, the mind that's telling you exactly what's going on, and your body, your intuition, your personal wisdom that disagree with your head? It feels like it's a disconnect, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. There's a natural thing about making a baby, creating it, and then growing it and nurturing it, but then also giving birth and then continuing to nurture that baby. And I would find that my waves of emotion would go like that. It'd be every 3 or 4 hours that they'd start to come up. And that's when you'd be getting up to feed your baby. And it was kind of like my body saying, where's your baby? Go and find your baby. I suppose this is what it naturally does to stop people from neglecting their children, doesn't it? And so those kind of things I was not expecting at all. I guess you can't bargain for them. So you can't imagine that they're going to come when you have made such a logical decision for somebody. I don't know. I just never imagined that that's what I feel.
This is so profound. As a life coach, my main focus is to help my clients to get out of their heads and get into their bodies so they could access their personal wisdom. So I support them through finding the right answer about what is the next step for them.
Yeah.
What kind of support did you have in this complex emotional process?
My biggest support at the time, apart from my husband, was other surrogates. So we have surrogate support groups. There's other surrogates in my town, in my suburb, but then there's people online, and we had a wider support group. And that's really what got me through. There's other women that had been exactly in that same place that I had been. And also my intended parents as well. They'd been on this journey with me.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't understand these feelings that I was feeling. And I think they felt a little guilty because I was feeling these because I'd given them a baby. They were all natural feelings that I was feeling. And that having other people there that have been in that position and can say, yeah, I felt that too. At 3 weeks, when I stopped expressing milk for my intended parents, that's exactly what happened to me. Those things, you're not crazy. You're not on your phone, you're not lonely. I so encourage all surrogates to reach out to other surrogates. It's amazing the support that you're going to get from somebody else, because nobody else knows what it's like, to be in that exact same position.
Yes, of course. Like with any other type of experience in life, I only understand what you're going through if I went through the same experience.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, what you will say to someone that is considering to become a surrogate, and what you will say to intended parents they are considering opting for surrogacy as a way of creating their families?
Okay, yeah. So couples that are undergoing surrogacy in, Australia, New Zealand, these places where altruistic surrogacy is the way, so you're not paying your surrogate. The one big piece of advice that I would give, apart from doing your research, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. No one ever knows it all. No one's ever going to be a professional at it. So you have to keep learning and keep finding all of this information for yourself. But the one big thing that I would often tell people, intended parents, to keep on their mind is to under-promise but over-deliver.
Beautiful. So what that means from a surrogate perspective?
So in counselling, I see it a lot that, couples are just saying yes. They're just saying, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll finish work at 30 weeks and come and help you look after your kids. Or, yes, I'll do this. But those things are not reality. If you are, promising this is what I can manage, but you can do more than that, then that's wonderful for everyone in the end, isn't it?
Got it. So what would be your advice for women that are considering to become surrogate?
My advice to surrogates would be, it's wonderful. It's truly amazing, life-changing experience, but take off your rose-coloured glasses very early on, and see this for what it really is. It's wonderful to give somebody a baby and to want to do all of these kind things, but you think about the impact on your family as well, and if this really is right for you. And if it is, then always go in with eyes wide open as well as heart wide open, I guess.
Yes, that's such a beautiful advice. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it is to get everyone on board, family, friends.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's a lot, especially sometimes there's two intended parents and then a surrogate and her husband, plus an egg donor and her husband. That's 6 adults who all have to kind of come together and compromise on, their ideals of the journey. It can be wonderful in the end. The surrogate baby that I gave birth to, she's now 6 months, and she is, she's one of the loves of my life. I love her and I love seeing her grow. And as I said before, it was hard in those first few months, but now it's hanging out with my friends and their baby, and that's how it was always intended to be. And I'm glad that I have got there emotionally, and we're all in this place of seeing each other all the time.
So wonderful. So going back to the time when you were pregnant, how do you decided who to tell and who to not tell that the baby's not yours? And I mean, how do you get the compliments, like congratulations?
Yeah. So sometimes when people would come up and say, oh, you're pregnant and things like that, depending on my level of, I guess, involvement with them, if it was just someone at the shops, I'd probably just say, yeah, okay, and thanks very much. But someone in my life, like school mums, for instance, they're people that you see all the time, they're not your friends. They obviously noticed that I was pregnant, and then telling them, a lot of people were very shocked. Some people were very judgmental, but I don't know, I was very open and I was very honest, and I guess that I am this type of person. I know other surrogates who are not, because they're not the type of person that has, a big voice inside them and can just take the criticism or take the praise. That's a big thing that surrogates don't do well, is we're altruistic by nature, so taking that praise on board of you're amazing and hearing that every day, sometimes you just get sick of it and you just, I just sometimes would just say, yeah, I am pregnant, and then leave it at that. And
I never thought about that.
It was the afterwards, going to school after I'd given birth, and then everyone being like, oh, I thought you had a baby. That was probably harder to explain after the fact.
I can't even imagine. So basically you go through the same experience over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That must be exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amanda, is there anything else that you might want to add for surrogates or for intended parents?
all of these intended parents and surrogates, you don't have to do it on your own. There are lots of other people in this community, and I especially know how important it is for surrogates to have support, but intended parents as well. And there's people, I know all over Australia, there's meetups and things like that, but even online, there are so many groups, supportive groups online. To find these resources will be, if you don't look up anything else on the internet and you don't, just to find a research on one of these pages.
Great advice. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, and I really appreciate your sharings.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I hope that it helps at least one other person. Then it's been worth it, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And yes, it is. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. Feel free to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. We invite you to spread the love by sharing our message with others. And leave your comments at spark@redefinefamily.com. Until next time, remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.